We're back here on KLGR at the Redwood Area Cattlemen's Association annual meeting, and I have Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association President Krist Wollum here with me right now. How you doing today?
Pretty good, Dustin. Yourself?
Pretty good. It's been busy for you the last week or so, and busy in general, but really busy with the talks going on around the state concerning ditch mowing. And a big thing that, you said during the meeting, something you never thought you'd have to defend or have to talk about is ditch mowing.
That's right. As producers, we think we have a pretty good idea how to manage our land and how to take care of our environment. And as people mowing our ditches, we constantly are out picking up all the garbage, taking care of it, trying to make sure we have safe feed for our animals and to make sure things look good. We're proud of what we have. We're proud of our land and our landscape, and we want it to be that way. And with the new rules, they're going to make it a lot harder for us to try to do that. They'd like to have it so you cannot mow your ditches until August 1st. Well, for the quality of feed, for us as cattle producers, it is half of what it would be if we were to mow it on the 15th of June. So that's something that we're really trying to reiterate to them every time we talk to them, is that we need the feed quality in our feed if we're going to use it. If we can't mow till August 1st, our feed quality is gone, and then our value is nothing more than bedding. And bringing that point up, we tell them if we get to August 1st and we haven't been able to mow our ditches, there's a couple things involved. You have timing. Our harvest is around the corner. Some people won't have time to do it. If it comes to August 1st and we've just had 10 inches of rain, seems like we get these days around here, when are you going to be able to get in there? So if that's the case and we don't get out there and mow the ditches, what are they going to do? And when I talked to one of the supervisors for the DOT about that same issue, he said the thought gives him a knot in his stomach. So I don't know necessarily if the DOT are the ones that are really pushing this, because they know it's going to take a lot more work and a lot more management and money from them to handle the ditches over the work that the producers have done out in the country.
Now, one thing you hear an argument a lot of is people are thinking about the wildlife habitat. Now, everybody's different around the world, but around the state, but I haven't always seen a lot of pheasants or deer living in the ditch. There's always going to be occasional wildlife living in those areas, but also they're worried about pollinators. What's the kind of thing that you're able to give back to them as information? Because obviously, farmers aren't the one wanting to go out there and just destroy wildlife and destroy pollinators, because obviously pollinators help with the production of our own crops. But what kind of information are you able to give back to those people that make that kind of argument?
Well, I guess what we're trying to bring across to them is that, no, you're right, we're not out there trying to destroy any animals. Wildlife-wise, a lot of the producers I talk to across the state have mowed their ditches for years and years and years, and if they see one nest in the ditch in a year, that would be surprising. So it's not necessarily my personal opinion is it's not necessarily where you'd want your birds nesting, and because when the hatch happens and they decide to move, they go across the road and then they could be subject to trouble. Mm-hmm. Another thing we've brought up is if we don't mow these ditches and the grass continues to grow and be tall, it's also going to make it very hard for people on the road to be able to see these wildlife coming out of the ditch, and we're going to have far more accidents. One of the things they said they wanted the permit for was for safety. Well, I think that would be a pretty good safety issue for letting people mow when they want to and keeping the ditches maintained that way. But there's other options when we talk about pollinators. When you talk about pheasant habitat, there's always the opportunity. We have a lot of ground that goes into CRP. We have a lot of state-owned ground, whether it be DNR or Fish and Wildlife. Why aren't we looking at planting more pollinators out in those areas when they're being reseeded or those different situations? Pheasants Forever is buying more land as the money comes available that they're using from our Lessard-Sams Commission from the 3% tax increase that happened here a few years ago. So, they're creating their own pheasant habitat there. So there are things that are already happening, and we need to take that into consideration. And then my other point on that is, why would we be saying that we have a pollinator and habitat issue now? We've been cutting these ditches for decades upon decades. And if it's because of the ditch mowing, why weren't we having this problem 50 years ago? So I think they need to look at, there's different things happening that's causing their problems, and let's not point your finger at the farmer right away. I think it's time for the farmers to stand up and fight back a little bit instead of just being the ones that they can point their finger at right away and let's take it from the farmer.
Now, we talked a little bit about ditch mowing. Now, other things that you're kind of having to deal with here in the last couple of weeks, months, that are coming to the forefront for you, Chris?
Boy, ELDs, that's a big issue that's going to be coming up. It's something that's going to cause a lot of stress for our trucking industry. We've already have producers that have said that they've been informed that they're going to have extra costs put onto their bills because of the ELD mandate coming. So it's something we really need to pay attention to. Some of the people that are trying to push this ELD say, well, why don't you just put 2 guys in the trucks? Then you don't have to worry about it. They can run a lot more hours. Well, I had one truck driver put it to me in a pretty good way. He says he loves his wife and he loves being home with her, but if he were stuck in a truck with her for 24 hours a day, 10 days at a time, it probably wouldn't be a good ending. So that's what they're facing, to try to get 2 individuals in a truck together for an extended period of time. That's a small confined area. It's going to be kind of tough to find the people that are able to do that. So, I guess safety-wise on the logbooks, why aren't we requiring guys driving cars or these big motorhomes or things like that? They don't have to have a logbook, so they can drive 24, 40 hours and cause accidents, but we're not worried about them. We're worried about the trucks. So I guess I'm hoping we have some letters that have been sent into Congress. I'm hoping we get a lot of support, get a lot of if we call our state representatives and get them to sign on, hopefully we can get this slowed down and re-looked at before it has a big effect on us.
All right, well, Chris, there's things we could talk about all night, but I will have to save some for the Cattlemen's Convention coming up just less than 2 weeks. Let's remind people when that's going on.
That's right, December 1st and 2nd in Bloomington at the DoubleTree. Come on up and join us. It's a good time to learn about policy. We've got a lot of good educational seminars going to be there, and we have some entertainment as well.
All right, well, sounds good. And Chris, we'll be talking to you while we're up there in 2 weeks, so I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you a lot, Dustin.
That's Krist Wollum. He is the president of the Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association here on KLGR.